we got to say bye bye boobs. Like, let's go party, right? So it was one last hoorah with my boobs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I wore the shirt and everyone dressed the same and they carried me around and it was I'm pretty sure people probably thought I had breast cancer and
All
but
right.
no one ever asked. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so it was a really fun night of just
Yeah.
walking around in my Bye Bye Boobs Club shirt
Yeah.
and getting spoiled. So
Hello, my name is Sally McNally. Welcome back to The Bleeding Truth. And today I have a wonderful guest. I'm so excited. I've been dying to get to this episode. This is Kim Crownover, and she has a really, really interesting story to tell and a very important story to tell. So a lot of you women out there have already had implants. Some of you are thinking about having implants, and a few of you maybe are thinking of having explants. And Kim is here to educate us today on explants. Um, so, welcome, Kim. Tell us a little bit
hi.
about yourself.
Hi, Sally. First of all, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm so happy to be here. So, my name is Kim. As Sally just said, live here in Southern California. I've been here for about 10 and a half years. I grew up in Arkansas, small town of Bentonville, and that's where my family still resides, my mom and dad, and my middle school and high school friends. So I go home and visit every few months still. But of course, it's always nice to come back to sunny California. So,
Yes.
yeah, so I work as a registered nurse on mother baby,
Yeah.
and I've done that for about 16 years.
Yeah.
So it's been a great career, and I'm still loving it.
That's so great.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting that you work in women's health.
Yes.
And of course, we're going to talk about breasts today,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about explants. So, in your job, you come across a lot of women who are breastfeeding. So, their
Mhm.
breasts are taking on a huge importance
Mhm.
in that time of their life, those few days, sometimes just a
Yeah.
few hours while they're with you on postpartum.
Yeah.
They're very focused on their breasts, right?
Yes.
And the function of their breasts at that time is to hopefully be able to create breast milk for their babies.
Correct. Yes.
So, tell me a little bit about your story and your breasts. And we're so grateful that you're brave enough to, share all of this with us. It's going to help so many people.
That's my goal. When I finally decided to explant, that was my goal, is to tell my story, get it out to as many people that are willing and to listen, because I think it is so important for my story to be told and to be vulnerable about it. This
Mhm.
isn't something that women should be keeping to themselves. We all have breasts.
Mhm.
Let's talk about them. Basically, my story goes back to 2008. That was the time when I graduated from nursing school, and a gift to myself was to get implants. It was a way that I thought was going to help me build some kind of confidence that I was lacking. And I moved forward with that just right after nursing school. Um, the decision quickly came, to a halt when a month after implanting started having severe pain, and I thought,
Mhm.
what have I done? Is this related? I don't know, but there's no science to support that it could be related. So in my head, I just assumed that the pain that I started feeling was just related to well, specifically, I had moved a heavy rug that had a table on it, and I thought I
Oh,
hurt
yeah.
my wrist moving the table
Yeah.
and rug, and the pain started in my wrist. Slowly, it started going around to all parts of my body, so every joint it would affect. And
Wow.
the pain was really severe, really intense. And again, this was a month after implanting.
Yeah.
Um, at that point, I'm like, something's not right. I went to my primary. They ran every lab under the sun on me. And they finally said, like, we don't see anything wrong with you. I'm going to send you to a rheumatologist. The rheumatologist got in touch with an infection disease doctor, and together they worked to figure out, what are we missing? What tests have been missed? Let's see if we can figure out like what's going on here. They finally, after about a year, diagnosed me with something called palindromic rheumatism. So
Wow.
basically, that means rotating joint pain. It was not an official rheumatoid arthritis diagnosis at that point. Um, they put me on high dose steroids that came with all the awful side effects.
Mm.
And they put me on a medicine called Plaquenil. They were just trying to get my pain under control and inflammation. It did help, but it didn't take it away completely.
Yeah.
And it eventually turned into rheumatoid. So
Wow.
once it evolved, it was like, okay, now where do we go? What do we do now? They kept trying to introduce different medication to get rid of my pain. But honestly, it wasn't until I moved out to California that I found a rheumatologist that was able to put me on a medication that really helped control my pain, and that
Mhm.
was Humira. And I took injections for 7 years. Every 2 weeks, I would take an injection along with methotrexate by mouth. So,
So I'm just going to stop you there. So you were a young woman trying to improve your life, trying to feel more attractive.
mhm.
So you got the breast implants, but you didn't connect the implants to the rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah, no,
And
I mean,
so now, years later into this, you've been living in pain all this time.
mhm. Yes,
Okay. Okay. So
yeah.
keep going. Tell us more.
So, my rheumatologist here in California was able to put me on a regimen that actually controlled my pain. So I was able to function well. And since then, I've been, going to the gym, lifting heavy, running, cycling, doing a lot of activity that I wasn't really able to do because the pain was so intense. But at the
Mhm.
end of the day, ultimately, I knew I still have RA. Like, so
Yeah.
what did I do to help prevent flares? I would eat healthy, like I said, exercise, try to get an adequate sleep, low stress in my life. All of those things factor in. But I obviously the dream and goal would was to not be on these meds, but
Yeah.
how in the world would I ever get off of them, right? Um, but I was functioning well. So the thought of removing my implants at that point still didn't cross my mind very often because there just still wasn't much research. It wasn't until
Yeah.
2021 that they put the black box warning label on implants
Wow.
to even say to women like this could
Yeah.
be related, this could be causing a lot of your issues. So
Right.
yeah, at that point, I started thinking more and more about it. But again, health seemed good. But then the thing that really got me, Sally, was I started developing these really bad, painful rashes. I sent
Mhm.
you some photos. I
I
don't know if you
saw
want to
them. It's
share.
shocking.
These
Yeah.
awful face rashes that were very, very painful.
Yeah.
It would I don't know how to explain it other than it felt like a
Yeah.
chemical burn, and
Yeah.
it was intense and would come on so fast.
Yeah.
And then it would just self-resolve in 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And it would happen frequently.
Yeah.
It would also move down to my creases in my arms, my butt cheeks, anywhere you
Wow.
have a crease in your body,
Yeah.
it would move to, and, it would be red, painful, and go away. And this happened for at least a year, probably more like a year and a
Oh.
half. And I kept trying to eliminate everything. Anything I could think of that
Mhm.
I thought, "Am I allergic to my coffee or my creamer?" It was always first thing in the morning. Is there
Yeah.
like, trying to eliminate things to see if
Yeah.
there was any correlation whatsoever, and couldn't find anything. Had
Yeah.
every test done under the sun, tested for lupus because it kinda looked like lupus on my
Yeah.
face. Nothing, everything was normal. So that was when I really started talking to my husband more about explanting.
Mhm.
And then the straw that broke the camel's back, I had terrible GI distress for about 6 weeks. Went to the ER. They did every scan, every stool sample under the sun. Everything was normal. Colonoscopy was fine, and it was just I couldn't eat anything that involved fiber. it would cause me to have excruciating abdominal pain. So I was living on soup and crackers for 6 weeks,
Mhm.
and it was just really bad. And that was the point that I looked at David and I said, I don't know if this has any connection whatsoever to my implants, but I'm done with them and I want
Yeah.
them out yesterday. So I contacted Dr. Michael Pickart in Ventura, California, and had a consultation with him. And within 2 weeks, they were out.
Wow, that fast.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. What a story. You had rheumatoid arthritis, you had those severe,
Hmm.
complete rash all over your body, it sounds like.
Yes.
Um, and then the GI.
Yes.
So, so somehow you instinctively felt it was the implants.
I did. I really did. There was just something in my gut literally
Yeah,
telling me,
right.
get rid of these implants and see if
Yeah.
it helps. And if it doesn't, they were 15 years old. They needed to be removed.
Okay. Yes.
So in
Yeah.
my mind, it was just it only made sense to at least try to do something
Yeah.
to see if any of these symptoms would go away. And
Right.
here I am. It'll be 8 months on the
Yes.
24th, and I
Yes.
have not had one body rash. I
Yeah.
have not had any GI issues whatsoever, and I am completely off of my Humira injections without any pain.
That is amazing.
It's wild. Like, I have
Yeah.
goosebumps. It I still cannot believe it.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
so is there a direct correlation to the implants? I can't help but think so.
Yeah. Right.
It's
Yeah.
hard to think that it
Yeah.
wouldn't be related when I was having
Right.
all of these terrible issues, and now I
Yeah.
removed a foreign object from my body, and
Yeah.
now I'm healthier than I've ever been, and I feel like I have my life back. I'm 40 years old,
Right.
and I feel like I'm 25. So,
Yeah. And you look 25.
oh, thank you.
And but you're one of the strongest women I know. I
Oh.
know the way you train so hard and you
Mhm.
can lift so much weight and you
Yeah.
run and you're so inspiring. I know you're very
Thank you.
inspiring to your friends
Oh,
that you
me too.
drive them to be stronger and healthier and to eat well and
Mhm.
um, so that's so amazing. I love your story. It's just so wild. Like I
Thank
come
you.
across women in the work that I do, and we have to check their breasts as part of a
Mhm.
women's, well woman exam.
Yes.
And I have, in the last couple of years, come across a few women when I'm checking their breasts, if they have implants, a lot of them say, "Oh, I really want to get them out." So, in the last few months, I've been asking them, "Why? Are you in pain? Have you
Yeah.
rashes?" Because I've been following your story,
Yeah.
and some of them, they say, "Yeah, I've had pain. I don't feel well." But some of them say they just don't want them in there anymore. They just don't like the way they feel or look.
Yeah.
Was there any element of that for you? Was there any like psychological reason for wanting them out?
I broke down actually with Dr. Pickart
Yeah.
crying because I loved them. They were they
Yeah,
were
really.
beautiful. There was not
Yeah.
I didn't want to remove them.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
women will say this, and I felt the same. I felt like they were a part of my identity. I had had them my whole adult
Wow.
life. And so
Yeah.
the thought of removing something that felt like was a part of me,
Yeah.
it felt scary,
Hmm.
and what am I gonna look like? I know what I looked like
Yeah.
before, and now I'm gonna look like that, but with scars. So that was
Hmm.
kinda hard to process initially,
Hmm.
but once I finally decided enough is enough, my health comes first, and it doesn't matter what my breasts look like,
Yeah.
that's when I feel like everything just took off, and life just got so much better, you know?
Yeah.
It just
Right.
I just
Yeah.
gosh,
So, Kim, could you imagine now talking to your younger self? You're just
mm,
out of nursing school, you're going to like treat yourself to this breast implant. What advice would you give that young woman?
oh, so anyone looking for implants, please do your research. I've been there and I know how it feels to want to enhance your body in that way. But I please do good thorough research. Look at the FDA.gov website. There are so many complications associated with breast implants. And if you don't mind, I'll talk about some of them that the
Yes,
FDA actually lists.
please. Yeah.
So a laundry list, but one is just breast pain or even nipple, decreased nipple sensation from the implants. Um, Additional surgeries. It's not a one and done. It's a constant every 10 to 15 years of removing, replacing surgery again. Um, then there's capsular contractures, which are basically when the scar tissue forms around the implants and it squeezes the implants and it makes them really hard. And in that case, a lot of women do have to have them removed and replaced. So that's an additional surgery.
Yeah.
And then there's also the chance, of course, of rupturing them. If you have
Mm.
saline, it won't hurt your body if it ruptures, but you'll be deflated. However, if it's silicone, that is dangerous to your body, and they would need to be,
Yeah.
removed, of course.
Yeah.
So then there's the scary one, which is the breast implant associated anaplastic large cell lymphoma. So that is seen in some of the implants, and that's really scary. I mean, that's a type of immune system cancer that
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah.
and they're seeing it in these
Yeah.
textured implants.
Yeah.
So that's where they're finding specific cancer.
Mm.
They're also finding connective tissue um, issues with people, and systemic symptoms. And there's a laundry list of symptoms. People are saying that they have fatigue, they have memory loss,
Mhm.
they have skin issues, they have joint pain, which obviously could be associated with arthritis.
Yeah.
Rashes is one of them. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then just the impact on breastfeeding, kind of going back to what you were talking about on
Yeah.
these new mothers that are wanting to breastfeed their baby. I would say for the most part, I feel like mothers are able to still produce, but sometimes they are not able to, or
And
their
sometimes
supply
it's less. Yeah.
it
Right.
decreases the supply.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
there are all these things to consider if looking to place implants.
Yeah.
But again, if you're just convinced that this is what you need for yourself, make sure you use a board certified plastic surgeon because that's
Yeah.
crucial.
So remember, this podcast, of course, is to help women understand and
Mhm.
learn. And this episode, we're not anti-breast implant. It's
Yeah,
like, if that's your choice, of course.
yeah.
But like Kim says, be well informed and to know, the dangers, the risks, um, as well as,
Hmm.
the wonderful way you think you might look.
Hmm.
But I have, on the other side of the coin, come across a lot of young women who are saying, no, I would never do that. Nowadays, they're like, no, I don't want implants. I want to go to the gym
Yeah.
and be strong. And they're
Hmm.
like training and looking at their bodies like like making it stronger rather than the feminine
Hmm.
um
Hmm.
breast implant
Exactly.
look. So perhaps that's a good thing in a way, do you think? That women are now stronger and more
Hmm.
self-confident?
More self-confidence, yeah. Yeah, where
Yeah.
women are I feel like the shift is happening, where
Yeah.
women it's like almost the small breast or back kinda thing, where women
Yeah.
are saying, I don't need large breasts for to feel attractive."
Yes. Yeah.
If you're strong and, you
Yeah.
have good muscle mass and you're
Yeah.
lifting more than some of those men in the gym, then there's where the confidence is. You don't need the large breast for that.
Right, right. And
I
perhaps the swing will come back to what are breasts for. Of course, they're
Yeah,
beautiful. They're one of the most beautiful parts of a woman, but
sure.
also um, the thought that they can create food for your baby.
Right. Right.
If we could,
What they were designed for.
yeah, there's such wonderful parts
Uh,
of us. They're magical, and women are magical, and women are so amazingly powerful.
yes,
Um,
agree.
yeah,
Mhm.
so I love this conversation. Um, so, what about women who now have the implants rather than the advice to the women who are thinking about getting them? What
Mhm.
about women who, like yourself? Perhaps they're going through different health issues, like you're describing GI or
Mhm.
pain, rashes. What advice would you give them?
So, just like I would give someone wanting implants, make sure you find a well-known board certified plastic surgeon. That is so crucial either way you go. Do not just use anyone that you find that may be the cheapest, because you want to
Yeah,
know that they have a good reputation, a solid reputation, and they're board certified in this. They know what they're doing, right? So
yeah,
that's crucial. There are a
right.
lot of things when it comes to explanting that are so important. And one that is was super important for me was being in the right headspace.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is, if you go into this surgery and you are terrified of what your results are going to be, you could come out feeling really depressed because
Mhm.
you feel like you've lost that part of your identity. You no longer have those big, beautiful
Mm.
breasts, right?
Yeah.
Now you're small, and that may be really difficult for some women to wrap their head around. For myself, it didn't affect me. I was actually so, so happy to have the literal weight lifted off of my chest.
Right. And the
And
relief in your physical self too. Yeah.
yes, and, it wasn't, like, instantaneous that I felt all these symptoms go away. Of course, this has been over 8 months that all of these symptoms
Right.
have just no pain, no rashes. It's been a beautiful thing, but,
Yeah.
I woke up from surgery just fully alert, so happy, not even knowing what my results looked like, and just happy that I was doing what I needed to do to take
Mhm.
care of my health. Um, so that's so important, is just to be in the right headspace. And
Yeah.
yeah, and you want to add
I
to that?
do want to ask about your recovery. If you
Yeah.
could compare the recovery you had after the implants versus the explants.
Oh, such a difference. Now, I will say, when I had my implants placed, I was not physically active. I had never played sports in school. I didn't have any muscle mass on my body whatsoever.
Mhm.
I never lifted a weight. I never exercised. I worked, and I did nothing physical. So
Yeah.
I was not strong. So having the implants placed was really difficult. When I say really difficult, I was in bed for 7 days.
Mhm.
I really concerned my parents. They said, "You're gonna get pneumonia. You have got to get out of bed." But the pain was so severe for me. And granted, I was 95 pounds. I had no loose skin, and I was going from an A cup to a full D. And that
Mhm.
stretching of the skin was
Yeah.
so painful. It felt like an elephant was on my chest, and I
Yeah.
couldn't breathe. So it was a really hard recovery for me.
Right.
And then fast forward 16 years, it like I said, I jumped off the bed. They were like, where do you think you're going?" And I said, "What do you mean? I'm ready to go." They said, "You have to be taken out in a wheelchair." I was like, "I mean, I'm fine to walk." I had drains out of both breasts, and my my little
Oh
JP
my
drains.
God.
And I was like, "I feel great." And I got home, I jumped out of the car, greeted all my neighbors. They were like, "What?
Wow.
Who are you?" I'm like, "I don't know. I felt like Superwoman."
Yeah.
I felt so good. My recovery was really quite a breeze. I mean, yes, I was sore,
Yeah.
but the only part that I would say was painful was on day 6, and then the day I removed my drain. So day 6 and 7, one of the drains was caught starting to cause a lot of pain at the
Mhm.
incision site, because it was ready to come out. And once he pulled those drains, it was like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
And all that pain went away. But it was just specific to that. But my
Yeah.
recovery was so easy. I mean, I was out every day I was increasing my mileage walking,
Yeah.
moving my body, getting my steps in. Not I just did not lay around at all. I didn't even take a nap when I came home from surgery. I was
Yeah.
up and moving. So,
Wow.
to the point that David said, "You might wanna take it easy." And I'm like, But I feel really good." So,
You are
yeah.
amazing.
I
That's
also yeah, it's it was phenomenal. It was just so easy, and I also had a lift. So that was a more extensive surgery. They didn't just
yeah.
remove the implants and sew me back together. I actually did a lift as well, which is again a lot more
Right.
extensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Now talking of lifting, you lift weights and it doesn't
Yeah.
bother your surgery.
No, I took 8 weeks off of doing pull-ups. I'm
Mhm.
a pull-up queen. I love pull-ups, but I knew I had to listen to my body, and, he did release me from, I had a weight restriction for 1 full month, and I could not lift over 10 pounds. But he did say after 4 weeks, if I feel like
Yeah.
it, I can certainly
Mhm.
start lifting small weights again and build
Yeah.
my way back up to 8 weeks. I said, I called him one day and I said, "I just have a quick question. When can I start doing pull-ups and flipping the 170-pound tire again?" And he's like, he said, "You might wanna wait until week 8 for that." I was like,
Wow.
"Okay, okay, I can wait." So, I was just so eager to get back, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your energy is so infectious, Kim. You're
Thank
amazing.
you.
And I'm hoping that you can continue to share this story because I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of women would love to hear, this. I'm going to share
Yeah.
this with every woman that's interested to listen. And if there's any women out there
Mhm.
listening to this and thinking, wow, maybe that's what's wrong with me. Maybe that's why I don't feel
Yeah.
well. um, so think about Kim's story and look at her just there and listen to her energy. And,
Yeah.
you might check her Instagram and see the way she's able to work out.
I
It's
know, maybe I
just,
should open it to the public
please.
so people can follow
Yeah,
me. Let's see,
really.
I don't even know what my name is. Listen to me. On my Instagram, it looks like it's just Kimberly Crownover. So,
Kimberly Crownover.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
Kimberly Crownover.
And we
Yeah.
can attach it on our YouTube at the
Ah,
bottom as
yeah,
well.
fun,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And Sally, can I tell a few more things that I
Please.
would recommend for anyone wanting to explant? Because
Yeah.
I was really thinking of all the things that were important to me, and I just
Yeah.
wanna make sure people are aware of everything going into this and not
Good.
be hit with any surprises.
Yeah.
So another thing is the expense portion of it. So this is
Yeah.
not a cheap surgery. So,
Mhm.
if this is and it's all out of pocket, right? It's cash only. It's an elective
Yeah.
surgery.
Right.
So, I don't want to give a quote because every surgeon's different and it
Yeah.
depends on where you live,
Mhm.
and if you're going to Hollywood, it's going to be double what it is in this area, for instance.
Mhm.
I know that much, but I can't really give specific numbers because it varies. But just
Right.
know for anyone looking, it is expensive. But if you're wanting implants, that's expensive too. So just know that it's going to vary depending on, do you want to just explant? Or do you want to explant and have a lift? Because
Yeah.
that does, of course, change the price, right?
Right.
So,
Yes. That's
yeah,
really important.
so that's
Thank you.
important.
Yeah.
And then another thing is insurance. As far as I know, no insurance is
Mhm.
covering explanting yet. I really
Yeah.
hope that we get to a point where breast implant illness or BII is finally a diagnosis, right?
Mhm.
There are people working on it. It's not official, but it's being studied. And I
Mhm.
actually it's crazy enough news. My doctor said that if my symptoms are, I remain symptom free for 9 to
Yeah.
12 months, he's going to put me in contact with a doctor out of Vanderbilt that is doing breast implant illness case studies.
Great.
And I would
Yeah.
become a part of that case study, which
Right.
makes me so happy to know that
Yes.
I could be a part of that study. So,
And
yeah,
wouldn't it make sense to, have the insurance turn it around so that if you
yes,
do have an illness caused by implants,
right.
that
That it
they
would cover it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
then it becomes preventive.
Exactly,
Yeah, right.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that and then obviously the downtime. So
yeah,
I just, there is downtime. Yes, I was up, I was moving, I wasn't letting it hold me down, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, I still had very limited range of motion. I could not lift my hands over my head for a good 7 to 8 days.
yeah,
So if you have
yeah,
small children at home, if you, that expect you to hold them and carry them around,
yeah,
you do need help for the first month because
yeah,
most likely your doctor will put you on a weight restriction. Mine, again, was 10 pounds or less for a month.
yeah.
So I do not have small children. I do not have children. So it was easy for me. My dogs just cuddle up with me. They don't have to be picked up.
Right,
So, and
right.
my parents actually flew out from Arkansas and they stayed with us for 2 weeks to help
Yeah.
me during my recovery. So definitely you need extra support at home
Mm.
for that first month. Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm always interested in the psychology behind this kind of stuff. But what advice would you give to, women who have little girls, their children, their little
Mhm.
girls? How could we help our little girls to grow up knowing that their bodies are just perfect the way they are? You
Yeah.
know, I
Well,
mean, it's okay if you want to have implants. Nobody's saying don't do that. But
mhm.
is there a way that we could give our girls confidence in their beautiful bodies just the way they are?
That's such a great
What do you
question.
wish somebody had said to you?
I think it's all about the confidence, and I don't have children. But when I've heard my friends say,
Yeah.
is it's all about the confidence that you show them because they
Mhm.
live by example. So if your mom is constantly going around bashing herself and talking about how fat she is and how she needs to lose weight and how
Yeah.
ugly her breasts are or how ugly she feels in general, then your children will pick up on those behaviors and they too may have their own insecurities related to body image growing up.
Yeah.
That could play a factor for sure,
Mhm.
and just telling your little girls how beautiful they are the way they are,
Mhm.
and kinda instilling that confidence in them at a very young age.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what about other people who want implants? Like, this is not just women who have implants. Have you looked into anything like people who are transgender who are
Mhm.
having implants? It's
Yeah.
probably same advice for them to look up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
still, it doesn't matter, it's like it's for all. Still do your
everyone.
research, still make sure you find a good plastic surgeon,
Yeah,
still know what all the potential complications are,
yeah,
and from that you can make an informative decision,
yeah,
one that's backed by science. And,
yeah.
like I said, FDA.gov is where you're gonna find where it has been proven, like, these are the things that, have are potential complications of implants. So
Hmm.
just be knowledgeable at least going into it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
And know
You're
your risk. Mhm.
you're so good. Yeah, you're so great.
Ah!
I love this. I can you share your T-shirt there with us?
Oh, I would love to share my T-shirt. So I have the best friends, and they by my boobs club. So I right before I explanted, my friend said we have to celebrate. Like we got to
Mhm.
say bye bye boobs. Like let's go party, right? So it was one last hoorah with my boobs,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
wore the shirt, and everyone dressed the same, and they carried me around, and it was I'm pretty sure people probably thought I had breast cancer, and
All
but
right.
no one ever asked, but
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
so it was a really fun night of just
yeah,
walking around in my Bye Bye Boobs Club shirt
yeah.
and getting spoiled, so
You're so funny. I love it. I love it. But you did touch on something there. Women who have breast cancer, especially young women,
Mhm.
they want to come back to feeling in some way normal if they end up having to have a
Yes,
mastectomy. And then, of course, having an implant uh, is one way to
of
feel
course.
more normal, to come
Mhm.
back to yourself. But I would imagine it's the same advice.
It is,
And you
and
gave that same list. I'm going to attach it to this
Yes.
story. Yeah.
Yes, and also because their immune systems have been down, they do have an increased risk of developing infection and other complications
Mhm.
related to surgery. I
Yeah.
have a very good friend, my absolute best friend in the world from nursing school. She would not care if I told her story. Her name is Kendall, and she has shared her story for the world. And she's the strongest, most beautiful woman I know. And she, on her 40th birthday, was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Wow.
She had her breast removed. She was always the one saying, "Get those implants out. That's what's causing your problems." And I would say,
Yeah.
push it off, push it off." And then she gets breast cancer and has to have her breast removed. And she really struggled with what to do because she is not a supporter of implants. And now she's in a
Wow.
situation where
Yeah.
after mastectomy, your chest is totally caved in. You have no
Mm.
breast tissue at all. They remove it all, and she
Yeah.
has this deeply concave chest, and it's not pretty. Uh, this is according to her. It's not pretty. I don't know what to
Mm.
do. I want to feel like a woman, but I don't want implants. And she struggled for a while with
It's
it, but
so hard.
ultimately,
Yeah.
yeah, ultimately she
So
got
hard.
them, and she's just like terrified that
Yeah.
she's going to start having breast
Right.
implant illness type symptoms.
Yeah.
And it's that's a tough decision for women to make. And
It's really hard.
I don't know
Yeah.
what I would do in that situation. I at
Yeah.
this point in my life, I think I would just be
Yeah.
flat, and it just would be what
Yeah.
it would be, only because I've gone through so much and then I've seen such an improvement. I don't think I
Right.
would want to risk going through that again,
Right.
like,
Uh,
personally.
I've seen a few women who do beautiful tattoos over their mastectomy
Yeah.
scars, which is in one way, but
Yeah.
um, not everybody who has an breast implant will have your story. So that's the
Mhm.
other side of the coin too, isn't it?
Nope,
Not
you're right.
everybody will
Nope.
have this.
A
So
lot of people don't have symptoms at all, and I'm
yeah,
so
so
happy for them.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
There
hopefully
are
your friend won't have that
I hope
same.
so. It's so difficult when I know so many women, and so many of my friends have implants, and they're fine. Their health is great, and I'm happy for them. But I'm
Yeah,
involved in a breast implant illness Facebook page where
yeah,
there's over 100,000 women all having issues, all have explanted or hoping to explant, and they all want to hear everyone else's stories.
yes,
And
yes,
whenever I posted my story, it kind of went viral on there when I posted my after photo, because
yeah,
my breasts look like I have they look like implants, because they somehow my natural breasts turned out perfect and beautiful, and I couldn't be happier. But that's one thing that women have to think about when they explant. You have to be okay knowing you're going to have scars. And depending on if you get a lift or not, you're going to have more scars if you have a lift. I actually drew a little
mhm.
picture I thought I'd show you. So here's a boob.
Good girl, thank you.
Here's a boob. And when you have a lift, if you just explant, we'll start there, then they're just going to do an incision under your breast fold, just there. So your
Mhm.
breast tissue, if you have some, it's going to naturally go over the incision, and you're not even going
Mhm.
to see,
Yes,
you're not even going to see the scar.
yes,
However, if you have a lift done, not only do you have a scar here, but it connects and it goes up, and then it goes around your
oh yes,
areola. They actually have to move your whole areola up because they're lifting everything up. So
yes,
so yes, so you end up with 3 scars.
yeah,
But I will say, for anyone curious, it's been 8 months, my scars are so light. I'm also very light complected, and
yeah,
apparently that's one of, our superpowers, is that scars don't seem to
yeah,
affect us as greatly as other darker skinned people might. So,
yeah,
my scarring is really almost you can't even hardly see it anymore. It's amazing. But one thing you can
yeah,
do, is just like if you had breast cancer and you wanted to tattoo nipples on, you can
yeah.
also tattoo over your scarring if it really bothers you, and they can match it to your skin. It's incredible.
It's
I mean,
amazing.
yeah.
Do you think that the way you work out and you're so fit and healthy that helped your healing, or the
Yes.
fact that maybe all the other muscles were
Oh,
supporting
yeah.
you? Yeah.
I do. I do for
Mm.
sure. Absolutely. My body was like ready for this. I do
Mhm.
think being healthy and fit and having good muscle mass helped greatly with my recovery. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
I only say that based on how hard the implant was, and it was just one
Yeah.
little incision, and it wasn't, not
Yeah.
as big of a surgery as removing and lifting.
Right.
That's a pretty big surgery to remove, lift, and have
Yeah.
drains and,
Yeah. But you
so
just bounced right back just
yeah,
like that.
I
That's
did. I
amazing.
mean, just came
Yeah.
out smiling and happy.
And of course relieved of all the other symptoms that were
Mhm,
going on. So that is
mhm.
my takeaway from your story, is that having the explant was such a healing journey for you.
Yeah.
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 Eternally grateful that I
Yeah.
listened to myself
Hmm.
when my mind and my body was giving me these red flags. I
Yeah.
finally listened to my body, and I feel better than I have in 15 to 16 years.
Yeah.
Truly.
Well,
Mhm.
now, what are you going to do with this? You have to have a plan to spread this journey that you've been on.
No.
You know, because I'm sure there's women who have the implants, they're in pain or they're uncomfortable, their stomach or whatever it is bothering them,
Mhm.
and they probably don't know that it could be their implants, or they are willing to live like that
Yeah, of course.
because of the image, the self-image.
Mhm.
How do we help women? What do we say, Kim, to help women?
Well, first of all, I mean, I think it's a combination of everything we've kind of talked about. Like, let's let's put health first. Let's not focus so much on our outward appearance. And if you have a supportive partner, they're gonna love your body regardless of.
And that's the hard part, isn't it? Because a lot of women say, I had to have implants. I had nothing. You know, they
Mhm.
see it as nothing because they're comparing themselves to
They are.
other women who have a lot
I know.
in
And
that area.
and that is the hard thing about social media
Yeah.
is there's always those comparisons, and I think just finding a way, you know,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any one way to find self-confidence. I think it's a certainly a combination of a lot of things that have to come together. But, that I just think for women, it's, just loving their body for
Hmm.
what they have, and, just, whether you have a support partner in your life or not, just,
Hmm.
if someone's gonna love you, then hopefully it's not superficial, because breasts are superficial, right? If they're not loving you for what you have to give to the world and the energy you bring to the world and your heart and your mind and um, the
You know,
chemistry, then
it's funny you're saying that. I remember being a young woman and I was on a beach in the Middle East somewhere,
mhm,
and I didn't have that about my body. I had small breasts,
yeah,
but I didn't have that self consciousness about that because I
yeah,
don't know, I just didn't. Um, but this man came to me and he said, "Oh, he said, you're very attractive, but your breasts are small, so I'm not
oh,
going to ask you out." I'm like, "Why would you ask me out? You're an ugly man." That's what I was thinking.
you,
But I was thinking, why would I want to be with him anyway?
my
But
goodness, yeah,
I never had looked at myself like that. So women do feel self conscious
hmm,
because of the way men talk about women's
sure.
bodies, you know?
I do feel like there's been a shift. And
Yeah.
maybe not a complete shift, but I
I
do
know that
feel
was a
like,
long time ago. That was like,
yeah, I do feel like there's probably been a shift. I don't know. I would love to do a poll on men
yeah,
and, like, would you prefer natural or implants?
right,
I
right.
feel like a lot of men probably would prefer a natural body over one that's not natural, but I mean, maybe that's just my husband and that's all I know. I don't know.
Yeah,
Um, but I don't know. But I
yeah,
do feel like um just small breasts are have come back, and
yeah,
it's become, I feel like, more acceptable. I will say my
right.
plastic surgeon actually said he's explanting more than implanting at this point. um,
Wow.
and which
That
was
is
like good
so
news for me.
interesting.
It
Yeah.
was actually really interesting to hear that. I said, you know, why are women coming to you with these health issues? Is that why?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "All I can say is, you know, when they come back, they tell me that all their health issues have resolved." And he's like, "That's, you know, have to trust them that it's
Yeah.
working. That's the problem. That's what a
Right.
lot of people are telling him." So
Right.
it is fascinating.
And your
Mm,
story is fascinating.
yeah,
And your story's not
I
over
know.
yet. You're
I
going to go
know.
out there, you're going to tell people, you're going to
I
help so many women.
I
I
may
love
talk
it.
too much. I'm sure people are like, "Does she have a filter?" But I just want people to know. I want women to know. Again, this is
Yeah.
not something we should be keeping to ourselves. Like
Yeah.
everyone has breasts and let's talk about them.
Yeah.
Let's not keep them such a secret, you know? Like
Yes.
if you have implants and you feel like they may be
Yeah.
contributing to your health issues,
Yeah.
let's get rid of those suckers. Let's,
Yeah.
you know, let's get your health back, girlfriend.
Well, in a way, this episode's really good that you don't have children because we're not being pulled into that aspect of
Mm,
it, you know,
yeah.
like, um,
Hmm.
and that's good for this
Yeah.
focus, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so we do have another podcast on breastfeeding and benefits and all of that, but that's of course a separate issue. This is about
Mhm,
the effects of breast implants, and
mhm.
now the benefits of explants.
Yeah, exactly. Eh.
I'm gonna spread this word and tell people, and
Oh, yes, spread it.
hopefully we'll be able to help some women with this, Kim.
I know, I sure hope so.
Yeah,
Here's something exciting. My story from posting it on the breast implant illness page, it's a
yeah,
closed page for women only, but you have to be accepted into the group. But
yeah,
2 of the women from the group
yeah,
said that my results were exactly what they're wanting, and they have made consultations with Dr. Picard,
yeah.
and this one lady is driving 3 hours for her
Wow.
surgery.
Yeah,
Just so she can be with Picard because it's
yeah,
about 3 things. Picard said, "You have 3 things that will affect your results.
mhm,
1, your genetics. 2, how well you take care of yourself after surgery, and 3, how good is your surgeon?" So it's a combination of things.
tell me about the genetics part.
Just your natural genetics. What does your natural breast tissue even look
Mhm.
like?
Yeah.
You know, you can only do so much with natural tissue, right? So
Hmm.
if you have one breast, for instance, that's much larger than the
Yeah.
other, you
Yeah.
know, well, he can't do much about that. You know, if you scar easily,
Hmm.
can't do much about that.
So
Yeah.
Dr. Prickard's going to get some
Dr.
business.
Pickhart. Yeah, I for sure I know 3 people have already had consults with him,
Yeah. Yeah.
which makes me so happy.
He's going to get more now.
When I go back for my year follow-up, he's gonna be like, "What in the world?" You're welcome.
Well, let's see. Is there any advice you could give to maybe men or partners of people who are thinking of having implants?
Support your woman.
Implants or explants?
Implants, just make sure you're both doing thorough research again. That's so important. And if you feel like you really need them, then you know whatever, that's your body, your
Mhm.
choice. Move forward.
Yeah.
But if you get them and you start having a lot of health
Yeah.
issues that you were not having, please just don't forget to connect the dots and know that it could be related if you developed them after implanting. So keep that in mind. As far as explanting, just please be a good support person. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just so fortunate. My husband is just he's a unicorn, I know, but he, you know,
Yeah.
no, he's a unicorn.
He's a unicorn for sure.
But he was so supportive and
Yeah.
just I mean, every step of the way, whatever I needed,
Mhm.
whenever I wanted, and made me feel way more beautiful than I
Yeah.
ever was with implants.
That is
Mhm.
so bright. I love that. That's a beautiful story. I mean, you're really lucky in every way, Kim. That's
I
great.
am. I'm
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't know. I can't think of anything. I'm just so
Yeah,
grateful to come on your show and be a part of this, and I really hope, spread the word.
yeah,
It's a great
will do.
platform to spread it.
Yeah,
So, thank
yeah,
you for helping me to continue to spread it. I
yeah.
appreciate you.
You're an inspiration, Kim, an absolute
Thank you.
inspiration.
Thank you
Thank you
so much,
so
Sally.
much. Uh,
Thank
I
you.
just know you're going to help people with this. Thank
Oh,
you.
I
Thank
hope
you from
so.
all the sisters and brothers, whoever needs this information. Um,
Absolutely.
all right. So we're going to end there. If you like what you've listened to, if you're interested in learning more about women's health, press the subscribe button and give us a like. That'll help us a lot. Thanks so much, Kim. So thanks again for listening. We really appreciate it. And if you like what we're doing, give us a bit of a review on Apple. That would help us so much. And if you come across a subscribe button, press the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything.